Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place. Ready to room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, any time of year, you can find it here.
Hello guys, we are the Eagles. My name is Bernie Leeden and I am from the Hotel California.
My name is Don Henley and you can call me the Desperado.
My name is Glenn Fry and I just take it easy.
My name is Randy Meisner and I want a tequila sunrise.
Next slide. Okay, so as a part of the Eagles, we have shaped a lot of the traditional Americana of the United States. So we started off in LA back in the 1970s with our debut album releasing in 1972, with our 4 original members being all those that are in this call right now. And we've cultivated country rock for the youth throughout the 70s. And throughout this presentation, we will examine how the Eagles' drama-filled career has influenced us as the band and influenced American music. Regarding our group synergy, we did our best when we were all together. Many of our members went on and did our own things after our 14-year hiatus, or 14-year vacation is what Glenn likes to call it, but I disagree. Anyways, so in the beginning days when Glenn and I used to play with Joni Mitchell at the Troubadour, we decided to go do our own thing and recruit our other members, Bernie and Randy. And that's when we really started to take shape. And the positive synergy was very present because as we started playing more and more, we particularly with our second album, we started to just crank out songs and get more and more hits. And the atmosphere started to get more positive. But as the intentions of the group began to shift and go towards more of a rock group, our synergy went more negative. And there were starting to get more fights, especially between Glenn and Bernie. So Bernie left the group and was replaced by Joe Walsh. And later we replaced Meisner with Schmidt because the band's atmosphere was so toxic. We were just going through members at that point. And then it was so bad, we just ended up taking a 14-year vacation. And then after that vacation, we came back together and we're still continuing to play music.
Kind of going off of what Don just said, we are the 4 original members. Timothy Schmidt joined our group after the Hotel California tour, replacing Randy on bass and vocals after he quit. By 1980, we were one of the biggest bands in the country, even after Meisner quit. But our success did take a toll on the group. Don Henley and Glenn Fry were intense and driven men, and also the original members. Bernie Leeden, myself, and Randy Meisner had already quit because of the toxic atmosphere. Joe Walsh was often too drunk and stoned to complain about his lack of control by this point. And on July 31st, 1980, Frey and Felder spent the entire show yelling at each other about beating each other after the show was finished. The band broke up following a difficult tour and personal tensions that arose during the recording of The Long Run. During the 80s, Don Henley, Glenn Fry, and Joe Walsh launched or resumed their successful solo careers. In 1994, we finally got back together for the Hell Freezes Over tour. We would continue to play live even after the firing of Felder in 2001. And following Glenn Frey's death in January 2016, we took a 1-year break, but continued to play in 2017 and are still going on tour to this day. We are also no stranger to change, and our breakups and conflicts have been very public. In the beginning, Henley felt a mission to portray emotional ups and downs in personal ways. We were content to do so within the boundaries of certain musical forms and music industry conventions, pushing and expanding them gently or aggressively at different junctures along the way. This willingness to play may have been one of the reasons for our success. Even after our breakup, we still went on to influence and inspire the renegade new country music. In 1994, when we got back together, we were still able to create music that influenced American youth. Many people knew of the conflicts behind the spotlight, but on stage, we were able to get it together for our fans. Change did put a strain on the band, causing toxic environments, band members quitting, and breakups. Even though we were constantly changing and there was a lot of conflict throughout our time as a band, we were able to keep it together for our fans and influence American music.
So with regards to our leadership, we kind of have an interesting dynamic going on here. A lot of our leadership is kind of hard to understand because we really don't have a central leader. But when I thought about it, I really found that Don Henley and Glenn Fry were kind of the two leaders of our group. And their leadership styles, they both kind of exhibit this democratic style of leadership. And you really can see this through their songwriting together. I know a few years back, Don, he was in an interview with Rolling Stone, and he had said that him and Glenn had this, quote, telepathy between each other for their relationship with writing songs. He even stated that they finished each other's sentences. But noticeably here with the two of them, there's this lack of autocratic or laissez-faire tendencies among both Henley and Fry, and that really contributes to their democratic leadership in our group.
So about our band's interconnectedness. So here's a few standout quotes that describe how our band is affected by one another. All right, so the impact that we had on the world, we produced so many hits that began to make country rock a very popular genre among the youth in America. But once we broke up, we were all pretty affected by it because we were, in fact, a group of friends and we had lost that. Myself, I was affected in somewhat a positive manner by the breakup of the band. I went on and I produced an album and continued in my success. I was not planning on getting back with the band because I had began my acting career. I had a major impact on the other members because whenever we did get back together, it was pretty much up to me. Joe became a mess because no one wanted to tell him about his drugs and his drinking problem. Schmidt, he began to hustle because he didn't know what to do after we had ended things. Henley and I, we began to have tension, which really weighed on our friendship. We began to realize that even through all the tension between ourselves, America wanted us back, so we came back.
So kind of how and why we ended, to summarize all the things we talked about. So back in 1980, on July 31st, Frey and Felder had that argument on stage. They spent the entire show arguing with each other and planning to beat each other up behind stage. Then after that, throughout the 80s, Don, Glenn, and Joe, they kind of launched their own successful solo careers. Then by 94, we finally got back together for our Hell Freezes Over tour. And things went pretty decent from here on. Although we fired Felder in 2001, we continued to tour. Sadly, though, in 2016, Frey died. We went on a 1-year hiatus, but we have since resumed playing and continued touring today.